good, Commanders fans? And happy Friday. I still am shocked that Jerry Jones traded away Michael Parsons. Long live Jerry Jones. Long live Jera Jones. Long live Jera Jones. Forever and ever and ever. He's never gonna die. Like he's never gonna. Even yesterday, Jerry called Micah Michael, and Stephen Jones had to step in and say, Micah, Micah. Like that's how bad it is. It's worse than the Kirk Cousins with Bruce Allen. That's worse than Kirk Cousins. Calling Micah Michael when you had him for 4 seasons. He's been your best player for 4 seasons. And you call him Michael repeatedly. That was the second time he called him Michael. He called him Michael on the radio, I believe. And then he called him Michael again yesterday. And then he said, we're going to stop the run better and all this stuff. We're a better team. And no knock on Micah or Michael, but we're a better team. We're a better defensive team. Like, I love Jerry Jones. Long live Jerry Jones. He is going to keep the Cowboys down forever and ever and ever. He has taken place of Daniel Snyder. There's a strong possibility they don't make the playoffs again, even with Dak Prescott, because their defense, like Kenny Clark's a good player, don't get me wrong, but they don't have a dominant pass rusher right now. I do like Donovan E. And their corners, like Trayvon Diggs, he probably wants to get up out of there. It kills the team morale too. It really does. The chemistry of the team morale. Other people say that. Like he already talked trash about Trayvon Diggs earlier. I don't want to make this a Micah Parsons video because I already made a Micah Parsons. But of course, digesting it a little bit, or kind of like letting it marinate. You think about more things and see more things and think about things that have transpired with the Cowboys and just how bad Jared is. He was talking trash about Trayvon Diggs and what was the draft pick they had? He was like the draft pick. Like he was talking trash about the other draft. It was either Terrence Steele or one of their draft picks that they had. He was talking bad about him in the media during an interview. And Stephen Jones, his son, always has to step in and clean up for the mess that Jared Jones has made. So, but Stephen Jones he isn't much better either. He's just younger and he can think a little bit more rationally because he's younger and not 80 years old, 82 years old. So long live Jared. We don't have to worry about Micah Parsons twice a year. Yes, we do play him in Green Bay. Think about this: the people who are fearful of Micah Parsons. Yes, it's fine, but Marcus Mariota just beat Micah Parsons in December the last game. Yes, I know Dak didn't play, but Marcus Mariota had a 40-yard run and Micah Parsons was on the field, right? So it's like you can't just act like we can't beat the defense with Micah Parsons. That's how some people are acting concerned. Don't forget Marcus Mariota ran a 40-yard run on a 4th and 1. Don't forget Jaden ran for a touchdown on them. He had an 86-yard pass to Terry. Yes, Jaden didn't play well in that game last year, but against Dallas, but both games really. But Mike has been beat. He's been ran on before. The Packers, look what the Packers did to the Cowboys in the playoffs. Like he's been ran on before. He's been cooked in coverage. Like it all happens. It all happens. Yes, he's a great player, but we've had our good moments against Michael Parsons before. We have. All right. So let's move on to Kendrick Bourne. He reportedly is going to have a visit on Tuesday. So he's going to go to San Fran first. I think that's today, if I'm not mistaken. And then he's going to, it's the Labor Day weekend. Holidays don't really matter in the NFL. Like, if they wanted to meet and talk with Adam Peters and put something on the grill at Commanders Park or at Adam Peters' house, and Dan Quinn is invited and stuff like that. And the wide receivers coach, Bobby Ingram and Tavita Pritchard and Brian Johnson, if they just want to meet up with their families on Labor Day, they could and just have Kendrick Bourne come over for a couple of hours. They could clearly do that on Labor Day. But they decided to wait on till Tuesday to have a visit with Kendrick Bourne. Obviously, the familiarity with San Fran and Adam Peters, and then Kendrick Bourne has a familiarity with San Fran with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. He was with San Fran, and he was teammates with Deebo Samuel. And so there's another connection. We're going to have a lot of 49ers connections, whether we're trading with them or somebody leaves the Niners and we pick them up, or one of our guys leaves and they go to the Niners. So there's going to be that connection there probably for the next 4, 5, 6 years, really. So whenever there's like a trade target or a player, like you got to connect them to here, just like the Cowboys with Dan Quinn. But Kendrick Bourne he's a solid player, man. He's had a couple of injuries. He did tear his ACL for the 2023 season. He had a recent lower leg injury sustained during the 2025 training camp as well, which led him to being released by the New England Patriots. Now, that's not true. The leg injury did not lead to him to being released. He did make the 53-man roster. He requested to be released, similar to KJ Osborne last year on the Patriots. Now, Mike Vrabel kind of disputed that. So, it's kind of a he said, she said, but he wanted out. Like, he made the 53-man roster. And apparently Kendrick Bourne wanted out. But let's look at some of the numbers for Kendrick Bourne. How tall is he? He actually has a YouTube channel just like De'Ami Brown, similar. Like he does vlogs and stuff like that. Kendrick Bourne's 30 years old, so he will add to the age. 6'1", 205 pounds. Undrafted free agent, went to Eastern Washington. He had an 800-yard receiving season in 2021 with the New England Patriots, which is really, really good. 667-yard season receiving in 2020 with San Fran. 434 receiving yards in 2022. 406 receiving yards in 2023. Only played in 8 games that year, so he didn't get injured in the 2023 season. Then he potentially would have had 800 yards again. He was halfway at he was halfway to 800 with 406 receiving yards. And then 2024 played in 12 games with the Pats. He had 305 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. He did have 4 touchdowns in 2023. He had 5 touchdowns in 2021. He had 4 touchdowns in 2018. So he's had some productive seasons in the league. And he's a yak guy. Like he provides yak. You know, I talk about no yak Zach all the time, and I love no yak Zach. But especially from a receiver standpoint, that's great. So let's look at some of the PFF numbers. Before his injury, Kendrick Bourne did not drop a single pass on 55 targets and averaged 1.69 yards per route run in 2023, which is a really good stat. Back in 2022 or 2021, Kendrick Bourne averaged 6.7 yards gained after the catch. Last season, 6th highest among all wide receivers. That's really good too. He actually threw a touchdown pass as well. He threw a touchdown pass to, looks like, Nelson Aguilar for the Patriots. So he did do that as well. So there's some really good things that he has done in his career so far. So Mike Vrabel said, quote, "That's news to me. You break up with somebody, your girlfriend doesn't want to be with you, and then you say, well, I don't want to be with you either. I'm not going to get into all that." So that is pretty messed up for Mike Vrabel to say that about Kendrick Bourne, but it is what it is. We move on from that. And I think he's going to be a good player here, man, potentially. Now, he was on a trade block, too. They were trying to trade him. The Vikings were heavily interested. They did not get a deal done. The Vikings ended up trading for Adam Thielen instead. If you had to choose between San Fran and the Commanders, I was debating myself on this a little bit, and I honestly think the Niners would probably be the better fit. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just being objective here. Because he would be wide receiver 4 or 5. He would be ahead of Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey would be wide receiver number 6. And then you can kind of interchange Kendrick and Jalen Lane. You may go with Kendrick Bourne as wide receiver number 4. After, of course, Terry, Debo, and Noah. Like, who's going to get the targets after those 3 guys? And you probably go with Kendrick Bourne just off of the veteran standpoint and just, you know, the familiarity there, too. Like, you look at the receiving core for the Niners, and Brandon Ayuk is out. They just signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. They traded Sky Moore, or they got Sky Moore, who's not good. And then they got Ricky Pearsall, who's still, you know, he's still got to prove himself in the league. Got shot, just like B-Rob came back. Russell Gage Jr. is a middle tier, number 3, number 4 receiver in this league. They got a bunch of number 3, with Jaquan Jennings is holding out. But over here, you have 3 legitimate guys who you know are going to get targets from Jaden Daniels. With the Niners, Kendrick Bourne can fool around and be wide receiver number 2 to Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall is their number 1 right now. And he's really not a number 1. That's how damn down bad the Niners are. So if I'm looking at that depth chart and I'm Kendrick Bourne, hopefully he doesn't watch this video, because I would like him to sign here. I'm like, hey, I'm signing with the Niners, you know, because their group is dire. Brandon Ayuk is out for the first 4 or 5 weeks with recovering from the ACL injury. So that's what I would do if I were him. Right, so my camera cut off on me. I'm trying to think where I left off here. Kendrick Bourne, he got a bunch of first downs, so he's a chain mover. He had 35 first downs in 2020, 27 in 2021, 22 in 2022, 15 in 2023, and then 13 in 2024. Now, I think, where did I leave off? I do want to talk about the wide receiver room if we do add him, though. How does this affect Luke McCaffrey? Oh, he's a good locker room guy. Like, a lot of people like him in the locker room. Demario Douglas had good things to say about him as well. There's an article where Demario Douglas says, where is it? All these dang ads and stuff. Demario Douglas shares the top. He says he shares the top lesson he learned from former Patriot Kendrick Bourne. He says, "No matter what I'm going through, just come in here and smile. That can put a smile on somebody else's face." So even Demario Douglas shouted out Kendrick Bourne. He said, "That guy, he brought energy and nothing but smiles. But this is how the game goes. You know, you get close to somebody and the next day they could be gone. But it's okay because I know he's going to land somewhere." So That's what he had to say about Kendrick Bourne, which is a good thing. Good locker room guy. I've seen him on the Niners too. Like when Trent Williams and Debo would come out with the boom box, and like Kendrick Bourne would be there with the chain on and stuff like that. So we've definitely seen Kendrick Bourne a lot with the guys and just his energy and his camaraderie with his teammates, different things like that. I do think he fits the Commanders mold and what they're looking for as far as like a person and personality. I do think, excuse me, I do think he does fit that mold for sure. All right, so wide receiver room. Now, this is why I think this is bad news for Luke McCaffrey if Kendrick Bourne does choose the Washington Commanders, because like I said, Luke will be wide receiver number 6. And if they would have just claimed like Malachi Corley, I don't know if another team put in a claim. Somebody probably put a claim. I think the Browns got him. I think their claim was way lower or higher than us because we had picked 29, so we're 29th in the waiver wire. But if they would have signed or claimed Malachi Corley or Trayshawn Holden, who was cut from the Cowboys, like somebody like that, I wouldn't be concerned about Luke being wide receiver 6. And I'm not going to rag on Luke too much. I know somebody's going to comment and say that Luke got open a lot in preseason, got open a lot during the season. Some of that is true, but in the preseason, it's like, why did Jalen Lane outperform him? Why did Ja'Cory Brooks outperform Luke McCaffrey as well? I know the quarterback play was not great, but I just feel like Jalen Lane is going to surpass Luke, and I feel like Kendrick Bourne is definitely the better receiver at this point than Luke McCaffrey. So Luke McCaffrey will be wide receiver number 6. He won't be wide receiver number 5. He won't be wide receiver number 4. He will be wide receiver number 6 if Kendrick Bourne does sign with this team. If they would have signed like Jamison Crowder, okay, I'll be like, okay, yeah, Luke McCaffrey's above him. Somebody like that, DeAndre Carter, somebody like that. But Kendrick Bourne, who is okay, I'm not saying he's like a world beater, but on this team, after the 3 guys, 3 legit targets in Terry, Debo, and Noah, Kendrick Bourne's going to be right after that, and Jalen Lane, like kind of very, very, very close, and then Luke would be 6th. And I think this probably will be Luke's last year here. I have, unfortunately, a prediction that he will not be on the roster next year. He will not. I don't think he will be, but we'll see. And but all right, you guys let me know what you guys think about Kendrick Bourne. You look at some of his PFF numbers as well. He had a 75.6 PFF grade in 2021, a 72 in 2020, 63.6 in 2022, 67.2 in 2023, and 62.1 in 2024. So, but once again, yeah, I love this Micah Parsons trade. I think we're gonna win the NFCs, guys. Like, I was confident with it. Excuse me. But now just this happening, because I had a splitting with the Cowboys. I think we can sweep them now. I had a splitting because Jaden struggled against their defense last year. And if you don't have a legitimate pass rush, that was the thing. Like, we could not slow down their pass rush. Micah was a disruptor in that game, that first game. He was a disruptor in the second game too. But without Micah, I think they may fold. I think mentally they may fold. And the Cowboys are notorious for doing that. I think they may fold. And they may not mentally recover from this trade. You know, I think they just lost faith in their owner and leadership after this, and that's what I think will happen. But their schedule is pretty easy to start off. After the Eagles, they play the Giants. They should be the Giants. They should be the Bears, and they got to play the Packers against Micah. And they probably will lose that one on Sunday Night Football, actually, as well. And then they got the Jets, the Panthers. Since they were bad last year, they have a favorable schedule. They have that third place schedule, so that they're gonna go like 8-9, something like that. Because I'm looking at their schedule. Their schedule is pretty weak, and we have a second place schedule. So, but all right, you guys let me know what you think about Kendrick Bourne. I think that's potentially a good pickup. I think he can stretch the field a little bit. You look at his RES score. I wanted to say that too. His RES score was awful coming out, but it doesn't really matter. His RES score was a 4.96 out of 10, which is really, really bad. His vertical leap was 34, which is poor. 40-yard dash was a 4.68, which is poor. But you watch him play, and he's way, way faster than that. His three-cone drill was elite. His broad jump was elite as well. So he does have some agility and speed, but he provides yards after the catch too, and that's what I think will help here. And I think he's gonna have that OZ role where he's the third or fourth guy, and fourth and fifth, and Jaden maximizes his talent and gets the best out of him, because we know Noah Brown is not reliable. So knock on wood, for game 8 of the season where Noah Brown's not available, you have Kendrick Bourne step up, kind of like OZ did against the Falcons. OZ had a good game against the Eagles. So those middle of the year, like November-ish, early or late December games, this is where Kendrick Bourne, I feel like, is going to be needed for depth on the roster. So, all right, you guys, as always, you guys let me know what you guys think. Have a great Labor Day weekend. If nothing happens, if something does happen, of course, I will make a video on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. If not, everybody have a great weekend. Peace.